Alright guys, when faced with the cost of having to replace or have my tub repaired, I couldn't go for that. I'm the kind of guy who, if there's a way I can do it myself and save a few bucks and learn a few things, I'm going to do it. That is what I do. That is what my channel is all about. In this case, I had to fix a cracked fiberglass bathtub. And I have never worked on a bathtub before. I have very little experience with fiberglass, and I need my bathtub. I mean, I gotta be clean, right? So I also don't want my floor getting soaked from a cracked tub. So if you watch one of the videos I uploaded a little while ago, from about a week, 2 weeks ago maybe, I started the process of investigating why my tub cracked and how I was going to proceed with repairing it. I had contacted a bathtub repair company who was going to charge me $450 to come over and fix the tub, and which I was about ready to do. And then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, there's got to be a way I can do this myself and not spend $450. Maybe spend about $50. So I did. I'm going to show you the end result, and then we're going to actually go through the process of how I repaired it. And you'll be surprised at how remarkably easy the repair went down. It's not the best looking repair, but it'll last, and I will never have to worry about it again, at least as long as I live here. I plan on selling this place maybe in 7 years, and if it lasts 7 years, I'll be happy. So, here we go. I should also note that my tub is on a concrete slab and it doesn't have access from the front, the left, or the back. So I had to do something that you would probably, well, most people would be like freaked out about. Here we go. Can you tell? Maybe not from this far away with this camera and this lighting, but if I get closer, you can see what I did. I had to drill 8 holes into the tub floor. And then I injected 1-inch expansion foam in 8 critical areas. And once I did that, I let it cure, and then I pounded these little plastic caps. They're called tree clips or automotive trim plugs or fasteners. In fact, this is what they look like. And you're going to see how I did this in just a few minutes once we get rolling with this video. I have the footage already recorded and I will show it to you, but this is what they are. They're made out of nylon. They can be replaced if they break or chip, and they're actually sealed in with silicone caulking, color matched to the tub. Well, I mean, the tub just happens to be the same color as the caulking. Okay, so I pounded those in after the foam cured, and that's a permanently sealed plug. It will never leak. The other thing I did was I had to repair the crack. That was the root, or that was the symptom of the problem of the faulty underlayment in this tub. My tub was installed wrong. And as it turns out, most tubs installed by contractors are installed wrong. It's just a fact of life. They don't want to spend the time and the money to lay down the proper base materials, and they install them wrong. And eventually the tub will give way and crack. That's life. This is probably a $5,000 repair job if I had a contractor come in and replace the tub. And I'm just not doing that, man. So, this is where the crack was. And what I had to do was and as you'll see, I had to grind away the crack with a Dremel tool. At first I stop drilled the crack. Whenever something cracks, you have to drill both ends of the crack, otherwise it will spread as it stresses out over time. So I stop drilled it, and then I ground it out with a Dremel tool using a stone grinding attachment, and then I filled it in with fiberglass filler, sanded it, let it cure, and then I used a coating of spot glaze putty, which helps fill in air bubbles or imperfections in the fiberglass filler. cured that with a heat gun. And then I sprayed it, top-coated it with Krylon Fusion. A note about Krylon Fusion, for whatever reason, it's good paint. I don't know why, it just happens to be really good paint. Because I used Krylon Fusion for this patchwork here. I had a defect in the tub. This is a manufacturer's defect that didn't surface until I had cleaned the tub and put my freaking hand right through it. But anyway, I used Krylon Fusion, and that was 3, maybe 4 years ago. And it's held up. It still looks good. So that's the paint I used. And then, and I'll have this on camera too, but I painted the ledge here with Krylon Fusion, and then I buffed it out by hand with a rag, and like new. So let's move on, and we're going to look at how that repair went down. Okay, and now comes the fiberglass repair part of our project. We're going to go ahead and grind away at the gel coat for this cracked area, which will give us a nice platform or adhesion surface for the fiberglass. I've chosen to, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't want to fiberglass the holes that I used to inject the foam into, because I don't think it'll hold up in so many areas. So I drilled one additional hole to kind of balance out the design, to make it look like it was done for a reason. So it actually kind of looks better. So let's see if so we're just gonna grind away at this fiberglass here. I'm trying to get the camera at eye level there so you can see what I'm doing. Alright. This is where it needs to be. Alright, here we go. I should also mention you need to wear a respirator when doing something like this, but now we have a nice groove cut into the tub in which to apply our fiberglass patch. Probably a little deeper than it needs to be, but you don't want to go all the way through either. So, alright, next thing we got to do is kind of vacuum this area up and get our fiberglass prepared to fill in the area. So this is the short strand fiberglass. This stuff smells horrible. And the cream hardener that goes with it. I'm not really sure what the ratio is exactly. Let's see. A quarter tube per quarter can. So it doesn't take a lot of hardener to do what we're going to do. I've also marked off the area so that we don't get the fiberglass on the good surface, painted surface of the tub, the gel coat. I'm going to use a butter knife, which is probably not the tool of recommended for the job. And we're going to take a good amount of fiberglass here and put it on our work surface. like so. Probably use a little more than we need because we're going to have to sand this down once it's done. Then we're going to take our cream hardener, just a few drops will do. I've already kneaded the tube a few times. I hope this stuff still works. It is pretty old. You don't want to use too much hardener. I think we may have, but anyway, it's only for this bathtub, so who gives a crap. We're going to knead it. Don't get the stuff on your hands. It is a mess to deal with. Just FYI. I like to work on a piece of cardboard, but I didn't have any. I'm the kind of person who just does what I can with what I have. If I can save a trip to the store or what have you, I will do that. I've been working with fiberglass on small projects since I was 16, 15 actually. When I got my first car, I had to fiberglass everything in that car because it was a piece of junk. Alright, so just knead the stuff, mix it really well. Really shouldn't have used a notepad, but I thought I was being smart. But I wasn't. This stuff can be a mess and it's hard to get off your hands. Be forewarned. And it smells oh so terribly bad. Alright. This stuff is mixed pretty well. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and apply it to the area to be patched with my butter knife. It will come off the knife. Oh yeah, I should mention, when the stuff actually hardens, it comes off pretty easily, so. Alright. There we go. We're just going to let this probably cure overnight, maybe. Yeah, that should do it. We want to scrape off as much excess as we can now, because if we don't, we'll be paying later. We'll have to sand it all off later on. And folks, that ain't fun. You should actually use a plastic spatula if you have one, not a butter knife. Do as I say, not as I do, as my dad always said. Clean off as much as you can. And then whatever we don't get, we'll sand it later and make it nice and pretty. So I'm going to leave the tape here. And I'm going to check it. If it doesn't harden in the next hour or so, then I have a bad formula. I may have bad hardener. I mean, the stuff, I've had it forever, so I just hope it didn't go bad on me. So when we left off, I wasn't sure how solid my patch job was because it wasn't curing. So I mixed up another batch, and it actually cured relatively quickly. So I put a coating of glazing putty. Oh wait, wrong tube. Glazing putty, which actually fills in the low spots. And then we're going to sand with 400 grit sandpaper. I would use a sanding block, but it's not a perfectly flat surface. So I'm going to caution against using a sanding block in this case. And you can take a piece of 400 grit automotive sandpaper and just sand it down smooth. Like so. I really should use a sanding block, but alright, let me get this. Okay, after my first sanding, I find that there is a low spot here. I'm going to fill that in with glazing and spot putty. This stuff is a little bit like, almost like JB Weld. I mean, it's not the same product, but it kind of does the same thing. It's a pre-catalyzed, well actually it's oxygen catalyzed mixture. And we're just going to take this piece of cardboard and try to work it in there. Smoothing it over. Make it a little heavy so that when it cures, there won't be a low spot anymore. So, that's going to take a few hours to cure, and then we can sand it again and top coat it, hopefully. Well, theoretically we should prime it and then top coat it. But I would like to be able to take a shower tonight. I don't think it's going to happen. Damn. Okay, it doesn't look like much now, but it's smooth and ready for top coat. You know, I thought about using a piece of burlap before this dried and then stamping the pattern of the tub floor into it, but whatever. Okay, so I've cleaned up around it. I want to see where the paint damage extends to. Wow, that is really smooth. I'm going to take some tape and we're going to go around it. And that'll be our final taping, and then we can start. Alright, I've got the area taped off pretty well. I want to mention that it's important that you take all the tape off that you used for the sanding work. And you want to remove that because buildup forms underneath the tape in areas that you can't always see. So you want to take all that off, clean it, and then put new tape back on. I'm going to be using this almond colored, this is like a commercial grade high performance enamel. I'm going to shake it really well. This is almond color. It will match the tub almost exactly. And I think color-wise we're right on the money. So I'm going to put a light dusting on it. Let that dry. Make sure it doesn't bead up anywhere, and it looks like it is. Yeah. No, that's just a very light coating. I'm going to let that air dry for about a minute or so. And I already have a headache. Alright. I want to show you a patch that I made in this tub earlier, about 3 years ago. And I used Krylon Fusion. This whole section had to be patched because the tub had actually, during manufacturing, there was a bubble in the mold. And while I was cleaning, I put a hole through the tub. The only thing that was there was gel coat. So, that's never fun. Put a nice thick coat of paint. We're going to use a heat gun to warm it up a little bit. And that'll be it. Done deal. What are you talking about? This tub never cracked. What are you talking about, you liar? Well, as you already know, the tub did have a crack in it, but can you find it? Well, not in this lighting and not with this camera. But it came out really well. It's right there. As I later learned, the almond enamel, this is what I was using for computer carts, is a little too dark, and it shows up like a sore thumb. So thank God I still had my my Krylon Fusion off-white. I was able to blend it in a little bit of overspray, but that'll wear away with time. But I was able to get that taken care of, and I also coated right here. Can you tell? Again, not in this lighting and not with this camera. But I did put a nice coat of paint right here. There was, look, the gel coat was worn thin for some reason. It was like that when I moved in. I don't know why. But now I'm going to let that cure for about 2 hours maybe. And should be good enough for a quick shower. And then, you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, this stuff does cure pretty quickly, so I'm not worried about that. Well, that's it for now. I think the tub is fixed and on to another project.